Hi, welcome everyone to SUSECON 2023 Digital Online Conference. So this is Mahantesha. I'm from Kyndryl India Private Limited. I'm the offering architect. In this session, we'll be presenting redefining infrastructure as a code using Rancher templates. So this is for provisioning the Kubernetes cluster through Rancher. So, as a part of agenda, we'll be covering what is IAC, what is multi-cluster management, benefits of using Rancher templates, and followed by a simple demo using some use cases. Okay, let me give a little bit background about speakers. Myself, Mahantesh. I'm the offering architect in MSCP team, which comes under Kyndryl Private Cloud Services. I'm having around 20 years of expertise in various IT roles, including DevOps automation and zero-touch automation, which actually based on Kubernetes technologies. And Rancher is part of our portfolio developed by myself and many within our organization. Coming to Money, so he is also part of our same organization, and he has around 20 years of experience in IT, mainly in middleware, cloud, and container technologies. Okay, so what Kyndryl will do, right? So in Kyndryl, we want to be a valued managed services partner for our customers. We bring in, the right mix of great talent, technologies, the operational excellences that's really helps to customers to reduce their risk on everyday risk, right? And also, it will help the customer to optimize their infrastructure, right? And also, it will provide customer to maximize their business value propositions and help them in we really help them in transforming their journey to the modernization. In Kindle, we cover complete IT stack. In fact, we have many other offerings embedded in Kyndryl's intellectual property that we have created over years of expertise in the field. We are also supported by the vast ecosystem of partners and the experience as well, right? That really the whatever the experience we get, that we start including in every offering what we do. So also our main intention is to get employer choice, which actually attracts a great talent and expertise that we bring in, right? So, by the way, our platform-based automation not only helps to drive the delivery efficiency, but also reduce the efforts and risk, right? Okay, so let's go a little bit deep into what is IAC and what is multi-cluster management. So IAC uses a single source of truth to apply and enforce configuration from the source to the target environment. So basically, when we talk about the IAC, it can be a push only method or pull only method or either both. Right? It is the choice is basically left to DevOps team, whichever the method they wanted to adopt or suit their environment. Right? They can do it. Coming to versioning and auditing, usually IAC, the infrastructure as a code, right? It is version controlled. So most of the time, whatever the code we develop, it will be there in, we store it in source code control system, that is GitHub. The changes to the infrastructure config files, right? There's many infrastructure files what we have, and whatever the changes we do to that, like what are the changes we made, it is usually reviewed and audited, right? So the another advantage is, if there is any issues with the current version of infrastructure as a code, right? Always you can go ahead and do the rollback. That is the another advantage. Coming to rapid deployment, so once the cluster configuration files are defined in IAC, or changes are committed to the GitHub, right? The automation invokes, directly using some of the webhooks what we configured. So that will actually go ahead and provisioning the Kubernetes clusters onto cloud agnostic environments, right? So coming to the templatization, ISE configurations can be rapidly reused to provision multiple Kubernetes clusters in various environments with very minimal changes, right? So the standardization, always, we do enforce conformity or uniformity across the clusters and environment, that actually make a standard cluster deployments, right? Okay, so what is multi-cluster manager and why it is required, right? So first of all, Kubernetes is used for managing the containers, right? And the rancher is used for managing the Kubernetes clusters, right? There's multiple clusters can be managed using rancher. So hence we say rancher is used as the multi-cluster manager. See, basically, the rancher provides the centralized UI that can be used for managing the multiple clusters. Okay. Um, so, what are the options or operations we can do with the rancher UI, right? So we can do provision the new cluster. We can upgrade, or if there's any changes you wanted to do the clusters, for example adding the node pool or deleting node pool, we can do. And even if the cluster itself is not required, we can go ahead and delete the clusters from the rancher UI itself, right? Okay, so coming to the managed cluster. So managed cluster is the umbrella, the term for Kubernetes cluster that brought into the management plane of rancher, right? So whether it is imported cluster or a provisioned, newly provisioned cluster, that we can manage it using Rancher UI. See, imported cluster. The imported cluster means, the already the cluster is provisioned in some of the environment that we wanted to manage it using the Rancher, correct? By the way, the Rancher itself is hosted on Kubernetes cluster that we call it as local cluster or the hub cluster, from which we can manage the configurations of the clusters, right? Okay, coming to the provisioned clusters. See, provisioned clusters are provisioned by rancher itself, and are managed, or you can go ahead and delete those clusters from rancher UI. Whereas the imported clusters are managed, only we can do the manage, right, by rancher, but we cannot go ahead and delete those clusters. So only we cannot delete. It is only we can do the detach of that cluster from the rancher UI. That is, we cannot manage this cluster. That means, okay. So now we will see how we can use rancher and especially rancher templates, right, for the cluster management, and how basically it will simplify our activities. That is what we are going to see now. Okay. So before coming to Rancher templates, I just want to give a little bit background about our offering on how we connect to the customer environment and manage the customer workloads or customer Kubernetes clusters, right, which are deployed in different cloud environments. So actually, we divided the environment into two parts. So one is a managed two environment, that is the customer environment, which is represented in the red line, right? And the another one is the blue line, which is managed from environment, which is represented in a blue color. So that is the Kyndryl environment. The Kyndryl, the Rancher solution, right? The offering is basically a complete Kubernetes platform solution that provides the plethora of tools for cluster provisioning, the managing, running workloads, and managing or deleting clusters using the Rancher UI. Also, there are many tools. For example, the monitoring, logging, event management, the external integrations are through thoroughly tested by our SRE, the delivery people, and those are actually the our enterprise management tools, which are used for managing the tickets which are generated within the rancher environment, right? So if it is infra related, then the control will manage these tickets. Otherwise, if it is application based, then the customer is going to take care of these tickets, right? That is all. These kind of tools we manage from environment, that is within control premises. By the way, the Rancher itself is the Kubernetes application, which itself is installed on the Kubernetes application, right? So, and when we install this Rancher, it installs many the required custom resources, controllers, and processes. Those are actually required for administrating the other managed the Kubernetes clusters. Okay. Also, Rancher comes with built-in tools. For example, the continuous delivery tool, and also that is called as the fleet. In Rancher, there's many other, the tools we can install it. Those, for example, the Longon, which will be used as a storage tool, and new vector, it is a security tool, and these kind of tools can be installed using the helm charts. That is kind of catalog items or cluster tools that we can install using the from the rancher UI itself. Okay. So the rancher templates are created in many different methods, right? For example, the easiest method is through rancher UI itself. Okay, you just right click on the provisioned cluster and create a there is option to create a template out of it. So whenever you create a new cluster, that time you just provide the reference of the template, so that the new cluster will be created with the same configuration as the template, right? And the second main method is using the Helm charts. So basically, you define all your the cluster parameters into values.yaml. This is the YAML file based method, and using that, the Helm charts, those will create the web reference, or you can say the catalog items within the Rancher UI. From that, you can provision the new clusters, which will be same as the templates what we defined. Okay, going to the third method, which is the using the IAC infrastructure as a code. In that, we use the Terraform code and values.yaml that contains all the default values required for template. So these Terraform scripts are invoked from Jenkins, and Jenkins will pull all the required script from the GitHub. Right, all these will be versioned within the GitHub. That I'm going to demo it in the next session. Okay, so here are some key challenges and how templates overcome these challenges. We'll see this. Okay, so the challenges, right? It is not easy to identify and remove all the resources created by the deployment, right? So when you create any cluster, it is creating a lot of resources. It is not easy to remove one by one, right? So, and the these configuration, cluster configuration, right, it is not very easy to understand by everybody. So if any layman, if he wanted to provision the clusters, it is going to take a lot of time for him, right? So for that, in if we take create a template, and it will be easy for him to just provide one or two parameters, and the cluster will be created. The another issue is, whenever you, how will so basically, how will you make sure the resource you created, it is really a secured one, right? So how will you make sure? So what we will do is, within the template itself, we define the template in such a way that we have put in all the securities in place. So whenever you create any cluster, which will be of it will be more secured. Okay, so if you think of without the templates or without the automation, so when we talk about creating any cluster, it creates so many resources, so we cannot go ahead and create it manually, right? It takes very long time to do that part, and it is error prone as well, right? So also, if we are not doing any templates or automation, we are going to lose a lot of time, and along with the time, we are going to lose. The effort is gone, costing will come up. So there's a lot of issues we face without the templates. So let's see what we are going to achieve. Already I mentioned, but I will just go through briefly using in this slide. So basically, in just a clicks, we actually create the clusters and using these templates. And when we create these clusters, almost we can say 90% of the times it will provision successfully, right? So only in case if there is any resource issues within the environment, then it will fail. That we need to look and correct that issue and restart the deployment using the templates. Okay, so with the templates, we can create same configuration clusters, right? For example, the development team or a test team, they wanted to reproduce some of the issues. So when they have a different environment, it is very difficult to reproduce the issues. So when we create with these templates, it will create the same kind of environment, and at least from the environment perspective, developers will not have any issues. That is the advantage. And also, whenever we create, as I mentioned, the policy enforcement or security, we can implement within the template itself. That will actually, the reduce the risk. So overall, looking at the advantages, we can say the management of Kubernetes clusters using the Rancher UI is really easy. So, coming to a few of the benefits, it is not only the four benefits what we need to mention. So, there's many benefits actually. So, but the major ones are, the scalability. As I mentioned, it is very simple to provision a large number of standardized small print clusters very quickly and consistently without any issues, right? And coming to security, the security will be taken care while implementing the template itself, right? That will reduce the risk. And similarly, we can implement the policies also, right? So finally, coming to the collaboration, and when you are interacting with many other teams, you can share your templates with many other teams as well, so that they can create a similar environment, right, or Kubernetes clusters within their environment, so that we save a lot of time or a cost or effort. It is a really a very huge advantage. So I have created, the another demo video which demonstrate the Rancher templates using the Terraform and Jenkins tools. Right? Please watch that video, and thank you very much for watching this video as well. Thank you. In this demo, I'm going to show live demo on redefining the infrastructure as a code using the Rancher templates. So I'm toggling between different windows to show the status of the cluster creation. Fine. By the way, in the last demo, I mentioned about three methods of creating the templates. So I'll not go through in detail for the first two. I will just show how it is being created. So as you see, I'm into the Rancher cluster details. So whenever you will see once a cluster is created, there is a three dotted lines. You will see it here. So by right clicking on that, you will get an option of creating the template here. But once you create a template, you won't get that option. So once you go to templates, RKE templates, you will be able to see that template is already available. And whenever you want to create a new cluster, you will get that option. I'll show you that now. So now I'm into cluster creation item, and go to EC2, Amazon EC2, for creating the RKE cluster. So here you get a templates option. You can choose a different templates here, right? So in this case, the last one, RKE1 template demo, that is the one you can select and create a clusters with the same configurations. So coming to the second option, I'll go back to the cluster management now. So the second option is, using the Helm charts. So here we have the GitHub repo, which will contains all the required files, Helm repository files. So this Helm repo I already configured into Rancher. If you look at this Rancher Helm template, this is the one which is actually configured. Okay, so once I configure that, if I go to cluster management and say create, I'll see this option. There you see the Kyndryl Rancher AWS template. So once you click on that, you will just see two parameters. So one is the cluster name and the credentials. The only two parameters it will ask for the user, and the other parameters all will be as a part of template. Okay, so I'm not going to provision this cluster because I'm going to concentrate on the third part. So going back to the cluster management, as you see, there's only two clusters which are available now. Okay, so now I'm going with the live demo. Before that, I wanted to show the helm. Sorry, our GitHub repository. The GitHub repository contains all the Terraform code here, and there's another repository which contains the Jenkins file, which will be used by the Jenkins to provision the cluster. Okay, so here is our Jenkins pipeline. Okay, so if I go to build and parameters, yeah, there you see it accepts only the two parameters. One is the cluster name and the AWS region where it needs to be the cluster need to be created, right? So if you look at below, we provided a different the templates. So in this case, I have three templates defined. One is the development, staging, and production. If I select development, you see the cluster is going to be created in the AWS West 2 region, and the control plane instance, this is type is T3 large. The node count is 1, and the other parameters already we defined it here. So if I change to staging, the parameters will also change accordingly, and the template parameters will change. If I change it to production, again you will change different parameters here. So I'll come back to the development, and you see it is going to create the cluster into US West 2, and the node count is 1, and it creates with different tags and VPC. All these parameters I already defined as a part of the cluster template. Okay, so now let me give a name. um, to say dev cluster, right? So if I go back to the cluster details, here we don't have these clusters, and I will go ahead and show in the AWS console. I am into US2, and you see there's only one currently the running instance. Go back to the Jenkins now, and I will initiate the cluster creation using the Terraform templates. So now the cluster creation is started. I will just go through the logs. So now you see already the Terraform init is going on. It is going to initiate the cluster creation, and we will also see how many resources and all these are available using the Terraform plant. Now you see the Terraform apply is going on, and it is going to create a cluster now. Now you see that it is already completed successfully. Let's go back to the Rancher console and see whether the cluster creation is initiated. So let me refresh this page. It is going to take some time. Yeah. So now you see that the SUSE dev cluster that I initiated, it is already started creating now. Okay. So I'll go back to the uh, EC2 console and refresh. Yeah, now you see that already it is started deploying EC2 instances. It is already started creating. It is in the initialization status. It is going to take some time to complete the installation. And once it is installed successfully, right, you'll see the cluster is in active state here. This is about how we provision the clusters using the template. Thank you for watching this video.